The biggest lie in finance is that you need a ticker symbol to build generational wealth. While you're staring at red and green candles on a trading screen, the world's most elite 1% are moving their capital into something tangible, untraceable, and historically invincible. In 1990, a share of Apple was worth pennies, and 1893's Morgan silver dollar in Ms. 67 was already a king's ransom. Today, that stock has grown, but that single ounce of silver, it's outperformed the S&P 500 by a margin that would make a hedge fund manager weep. You've been told to look for brilliant uncirculated coins, shiny, white, perfect. That's the trap. The real money, the hidden wealth, is buried in what the amateurs call ugly coins. I'm talking about terminal toning, die cracks, and the legendary VAM varieties that the average pawn shop owner wouldn't recognize if it hit them in the face. We're pulling back the curtain on the numismatic underground. By the end of this, you'll know why a dirty-looking 18880 Hot Lips variety is worth 10 times its weight in gold, and why the experts are praying you never learn the secret of the 1878 eight-tail feathers. The stock market is a game of counterparty risk. You're betting on CEOs you'll never meet and balance sheets that can be cooked, but numismatics. Rare coins are the ultimate hard asset. They are the only investment that combines bullion value, historical scarcity, and artistic demand. When the dollar devalues, the silver in a Morgan dollar provides a floor. But when the collector market heats up, the numismatic premium provides the ceiling, and that ceiling is in the stratosphere. Think about the 1895 Philadelphia Morgan. Only 12,000 were minted. All of them were proofs. Not a single circulation strike 1895 Morgan has ever been found. If you find one in a junk bin, you aren't just rich. You've found the holy grail of American coinage, but why do the ugly ones outperform the pretty ones? It's because the market for white coins is saturated. Everyone wants a shiny coin, but the sophisticated investor looks for toning. They look for the sulfur-induced oxidation that turns a silver coin into a canvas of electric blues, sunset oranges, and neon greens. This isn't damage, it's a fingerprint of time in the world of high-end. Auctions like Heritage or Stax Bowers, a common 1881's Morgan in Ms. 65 might go for $200, but if that same coin has monster toning, it can hammer for $5,000. That is a 2,500% premium for what an amateur would call a dirty coin. Wait, it gets crazier. You have to understand the VAM system, named after Leroy Van Allen and A. George Mallis. VAMs are specific die varieties. Back in the 1800s, the dies used to strike these coins were made by hand. Every single die had tiny, microscopic differences: a slipped punch on a date, a shattered die that left a tiny crack in the metal, a double deer on Liberty. To the untrained eye, it's just $1. To a VAM hunter, it's a 5-figure payday. Take the 1878 Morgan. It was the first year of issue. They started with 8 tail feathers on the eagle. Then they realized the real eagle only has 7. They changed the design, but they didn't throw away the old dies. They just punched the 7-tail feather design over the 8. This created the 7/8 variety. If you find an 1878 with a tiny tip of a feather peeking out from under the new design, you've just found a coin that collectors will fight over in a bidding war. This is the technical edge. This is why you stop looking at the silver price and start looking at the attribution. Why does the Carson City Mint mark drive people insane? The CC mark, it's the most famous mint mark in history. Tucked away in the Nevada mountains, the Carson City Mint was right next to the Comstock Lode, the greatest silver strike in human history. They were minting coins in the Wild West while the James Younger gang was still robbing trains. The mintage numbers for CC Morgans are tiny, compared to Philadelphia or New Orleans. But here's the secret the insiders don't want you to know: mintage doesn't equal survival. In 1918, the US government passed the Pittman Act. They needed to help the British Empire during World War I, so they melted down 270 million silver dollars, nearly half of all Morgan dollars ever minted were turned into silver bars and shipped to India. Entire dates were almost wiped out. This is why survival rates are the only metric that matters. You might see a mintage of 1 million coins, but if 950,000 of them were melted in 1918, that coin is a rarity. The 1889cc is the king of the Carson City series. It had a mintage of 350,000, but almost all of them were melted or circulated until they were unrecognizable. Ms. 65 1889cc is a 6-figure coin. It's not just silver, it's a survivor of a government-mandated extinction event. Let's talk about the slab. If your coin isn't certified by PCGs or NGC, it's just a piece of metal. In the modern market, the holder is as important as the coin. This is numismatic engineering. When a coin is slabbed, it's given a grade from 1 to 70. The difference between Ms. 64 and Ms. 65 can be tens of thousands of dollars. One tiny scratch, invisible to the naked eye, can be the difference between a Toyota and a Ferrari. But then there's the CAC, the Certified Acceptance Corporation. They put a little green bean sticker on the slab if the coin is high-end for its grade. That tiny green sticker can add 30% to the value of the coin instantly. It's the ultimate seal of approval. If you see a Morgan dollar in an old PCG's green label holder with a CAC sticker, you are looking at the blue chip stock of the coin world. These are the coins that the ultra-wealthy use to park their capital during times of high inflation. They don't buy gold bars, they buy top pop Morgans. But what about the hidden wealth in your own pocket? Or in that old jar of coins your grandfather left you? This is where the curiosity gap turns into a gold mine. Most people look for the date, they look for 1893s, they look for 1889cc. But the real hunters look for the errors. Have you ever heard of the 18880 Scarface? It's a VAM variety where a die crack runs across Liberty's cheek. It looks like a scar. As the die continued to break, the scar got deeper. Collectors track these stages like they're tracking the evolution of a species. A stage for Scarface is a trophy, or the 1891cc Pop T. A tiny piece of the die broke off near the word Liberty, making it look like the letter E is popping out of her head. These aren't just mistakes, they are unique historical artifacts, and because they are technically errors, they were often pulled from circulation or discarded. Their scarcity is organic. Is it a bubble? People have been asking that since the 1970s, but look at the data. In 1964, the US Treasury cleared out its vaults. They found millions of uncirculated Morgan dollars that had been sitting in canvas bags for nearly a century. This was the CA hoard. People thought the market would crash because of the sudden supply. Instead, it exploded. The CA hoard created a whole new generation of collectors. It proved that the demand for these coins is bottomless. Why? Because you can't print more 188 for CC Morgans. The Fed can print trillions of dollars. Companies can issue more shares. But the supply of 19th century silver is fixed. It is the ultimate deflationary asset. When you hold an uncirculated Morgan, you are holding a piece of the 1880s that has been frozen in time. You can feel the weight of it. You can see the luster, that cartwheel effect where the light dances across the surface of the silver. That luster is caused by the immense pressure of the coin press, which creates microscopic flow lines in the metal. You can't fake that. Let's go deeper into the technicals. Let's talk about the 1921 Morgan. This is the one everyone has. It's the most common date. They minted tens of millions of them because they had to replace the coins they melted in 1918. Amateurs think they're worthless, but the 1921 Morgan is a completely different design. George Morgan had to recreate the dies from scratch because the originals were destroyed. If you look closely at a 1921, Liberty is flatter. The eagle is different, and within the 1921 series, there are varieties like the infrequent readings or the wide reading that are incredibly rare, even in the most common year. There is hidden value if you have the technical knowledge to find it. This is the information overload you need to embrace. If you know more than the person on the other side of the counter, you win. Now consider the concept of intrinsics vs numismatics. A Morgan dollar contains about 0.77 ounces of pure silver. If silver is at $25 an ounce, the melt value is around $19. That's your floor. You can never lose more than that. But the numismatic value is where the leverage is. If you buy a coin for $500 that has a survival rate of less than 1% in that grade, you are playing a different game. You are playing the game of supply and demand. As the world becomes more digital, the desire for physical, historical objects increases. It's the same reason why a physical Picasso is worth more than a digital file of the same image. The coin is the original ENFT, but it's made of precious metal and has 150 years of history behind it. Wait, it gets even more intense. Have you ever looked at a coin under a 10x loop? You start to see things. You see die pittings. You see evidence of die clashing where the two dies hit each other without a coin in between, leaving the ghost of the eagle on Liberty's side and the ghost of Liberty on the eagle's side. The 18910 is famous for this. These clashed dies are like whispers from the mint floor. They tell a story of a machine that was pushed to its limit, a mint worker who was tired, a moment in time captured in silver. This is what the big money collectors are buying. They aren't buying silver, they are buying the story, and the uglier the story, the more die breaks, the more clashes, the more weirdness, the higher the price goes. You need to understand the concept of the slabbed and certified market. There is a hierarchy. At the bottom you have raw coins. Never buy a raw 1893s. It's the most counterfeited coin in American history. The Chinese fakes are so good now that they even use real silver. They get the weight right, they get the ring right. But they can't get the die characteristics right. They can't replicate the exact flow lines of a genuine 19th century Philadelphia press. This is why you only buy certified. But even within the slabs, there is a secret language. The old rattler holders from PCGs, the fatty holders from NGC collectors pay a premium for these old Holders because they believe the grading standards were tougher back then. They buy the holder, hoping to crack the coin out and get a higher grade today. It's called a crack-out play. It's high-stakes gambling for numismatists. If you buy Numis 64 in an old holder for $500, crack it and it comes back Numis 65. You've just doubled your money in a week. But let's get back to the ugly Morgans. Why do they outperform the S&P 500? Because the S&P 500 is a crowded trade, everyone is in it, but how many people are looking for an 18820 over S? This is a coin where the New Orleans Mint took a die that was originally intended for the San Francisco Mint and just punched an O over the S. You can see the remnants of the S underneath. It's a mistake that happened in a time of logistics chaos. These coins were ignored for decades. Now they are the darlings of the numismatic world. The growth on these varieties has been exponential. While the stock market was flat in the 2000s, rare coin varieties were hitting all-time highs. If you want to build a portfolio that survives a total economic collapse, you don't buy what everyone else is buying. You look for the technical anomalies, you look for the proof-like PL and deep mirror proof-like DDPL designations. These are circulation strike coins that were the first ones off a new set of dies. They have mirrors. So deep you can see your reflection in them. They look like proofs, but they were meant for the pockets of cowboys and bankers. A DDPL Morgan is a freak of nature. It's a coin that shouldn't exist. The survival rate of DDPL Morgans is incredibly low. In some dates, there are fewer than 10 known examples. That is true scarcity. That is something a central bank can't inflate away. Think about the terminal toning again. Amateurs see a black coin and think it's ruined. But the expert knows that under that black crust there might be a vibrant, pulsating rainbow of colors. This is called original bag toning. The coins sat in canvas bags for decades, and the chemicals in the bags reacted with the silver. This process can't be faked. People try to artificially tone coins using chemicals and heat, but the experts can tell. Artificial toning looks baked on. Natural toning has a depth and a progression of colors that follows the laws of physics. When a true monster-toned Morgan hits the auction block, the price guides go out the window. It becomes an art auction, and art, throughout history, has been the ultimate store of value for the ruling class. So how do you start? You don't go to a coin shop and ask for a silver dollar. You go with a list of VAMs. You go looking for the 1878 7 over 8. You go looking for the 18880 hot lips where the doubling on the die makes Liberty look like she has 4 lips. You look for the 19000 over CC. Yes, they took old Carson City dies and reused them in New Orleans. These are the coins that are hiding in plain sight. They are in the junk bins because the owners are too lazy to check the attribution. They are in the estate sales of people who didn't know what they had. This is the hidden wealth. This is the secret of the silver market. The ultimate revelation is this: the financial system is moving toward total transparency and total control. Every dollar you spend, every stock you sell is tracked, but a rare coin. It is a private contract between two people. It is a portable, high-density store of wealth that has been recognized for centuries. If you have an 1893's Morgan in your pocket, you have $100,000 that doesn't require a password, an internet connection, or a bank's permission to exist. It is the ultimate hedge against the digital panopticon, and the best part: while you're holding it for protection, its rarity is doing the work for you. Its value is decoupling from the silver price and attaching itself to the shrinking supply of historical artifacts. Don't be fooled by the shiny, don't be fooled by the white coins that have been dipped in acid to make them look new. That acid strips away the original surface. It kills the soul of the coin. Look for the crust, look for the toning, look for the weird die cracks and the doubled dates, look for the ugly Morgans, because in the world of high-stakes numismatics, ugly is just another word for rare, and rare is just another word for wealthy. The S&P 500 is for the masses. The VAM 1878 Morgan is for the masters. The question isn't whether you should buy silver. The question is whether you have the technical knowledge to find the 1 ounce of silver that is worth more than 1,000 ounces of bullion. That is the silver secret. That is how you outperform the market, the banks, and the system itself. You don't just collect coins, you collect history, you collect errors, you collect the things that weren't supposed to survive, and because they survived, they will make you invincible. Start looking at the details. Start looking at the mint marks. Start looking for the CC, the S, and the O, but most importantly, stop looking for what's pretty and start looking for what's real. The wealth is in the anomalies. The wealth is in the ugly. The wealth is in the secrets that have been sitting in canvas bags for 150 years, waiting for someone with the eyes to see them.